Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Women and Society. My name is Fatima Dewji Jaffer and I'm going to discuss various issues affecting women in our society. So what does it take to create great women leaders? It takes great parents to foster entrepreneurial spirits in their daughters. All around the world, across different cultures, religions, and languages, there is one thing that women leaders have in common, and that is family. Women leaders from China and the UAE cited open family discussions as a source of their confidence. Their voices started at the dinner table, where they were encouraged, not hushed, to speak about anything from politics to community issues. In these families, learning was nurtured, with fathers bringing books for their daughters and mothers taking the initiative by going back to school. So why aren't there more women leaders? Only 24% of senior business roles in the world are held by women, and nearly 4 in 10 businesses in G7 countries have no women in senior management positions. In the political sector, the percentage of women in government has nearly doubled in the past decade. But this translates to only 22% of women in all parliaments today. There's a dearth of women leadership, and our society is lacking because of it. Undoubtedly, there's nothing to lose from having women as leaders. Research shows that women leaders are profitable for businesses. In a new study of 22,000 publicly traded companies in 91 countries, it was found that having women in company leadership is correlated with increased success and profitability. There's also evidence that female executives make better leaders. Women have a leadership style that is more empathetic, focusing on communication and collaboration. Women even define communication differently from men. Both men and women rated communication as one of the most important qualities in a leader. However, while men define communication as directing orders, women define communication as a back and forth between leaders and their employees. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, accounts for 90% of a leader's job performance, and research shows that on average, women have a higher emotional intelligence than men. It's obviously very beneficial to have women as leaders in various sectors. But what exactly makes women into leaders? It all comes down to having role models and setting examples. In areas with long-serving female leaders in the West Bengal region of India, parents were 25% more likely to report having educational ambitions for their daughters. In villages with only male leaders, however, parents were 45% less likely to want their daughters to graduate from school. Similarly, the young girls in West Bengal had varying aspirations for their education, all in correlation with the leadership in their respective communities. Research from the Harvard Graduate School of Education found that only 8% of girls and 4% of boys in the US preferred women as political leaders, while 23% of girls and 40% of boys preferred men as political leaders. Part of this comes from an existing lack of representation in government. Children don't trust what they don't see, but it is also related to a prevalent unconscious bias that we all are guilty of. Before the boardroom, there's a playground. Before CEOs, they're children. People learn about social interaction as children, modeling the behavior of adults around them. An unspoken bias against women leadership in many societies worldwide reveals itself as the smallest microaggressions. They're not meant to be harmful, but the underlying intent has an insidious effect on a young girl's mind. If a young girl is told to be ladylike, while also being told that boys will be boys, she learns that society wants her to be polite and unassuming, to only speak when spoken to. If she asserts herself, she runs the risk of being called bossy, while a boy who asserts himself will likely be called a leader. This double standard continues into adulthood, whether you realize it or not. 4 in 10 Americans believe that a double standard prevents women from making it to the top, where they're expected to outperform their male co-workers just to prove themselves. Farida Jalaza, author of Shattered, Cracked, and Firmly Intact, Women and the Executive Glass Ceiling Worldwide said that we have to acknowledge that men are not faced with the same suspicion that they can't be good leaders simply because they're men. If a man is a bad leader, people won't conclude that all male leaders are bad. But when a woman is a bad leader, she's burdened with her entire gender's reputation on her back. Despite all this, how can parents prepare their daughters for future leadership? How do we encourage our daughters to become the leaders of tomorrow? Firstly, check your bias. Be careful of the things you say. Any statement that makes assumptions of all girls or all boys should be avoided. It's the little things that we say to our children that they pick up. Similarly, catch yourself from saying phrases like, boys will be boys, if you have a son. Cut bad behavior at the root, because one day your young son will grow up into a man. As part of the future workforce, he will also be part of the work culture that can be open or hostile to women. Generating acceptance for women leaders starts at home and with you. Secondly, expand your children's horizons with books and movies that feature empowering women. Discuss current leaders in various sectors who are women to bring positive, real-life examples to your children. Third, encourage your daughters to participate in team-based activities like football or debate team. Don't make assumptions of what activities your children will want to do based on their gender. Ask them and respect their opinion and autonomy. President and CFO of PepsiCo, Indra Nooyi, says of her childhood in the 50s and 60s India, "Everything I did was breaking the framework." Nooyi did everything from climbing trees to breaking stereotypes, and her willingness to break the mold is why she's so successful today. Be unique and don't try to fit a mold. And fourth, like many current leaders had with their parents, have open conversations with your daughters about everything and anything. Nurture a learning environment that she can participate in and never shut her down. Encourage her to speak and let her know that you are listening. You can also help your daughter by teaching her practical leadership skills like public speaking, working in teams, and problem solving. Leaders aren't born overnight, so you as a parent must teach her the applied skills she will need as a future leader. The best way to teach her these skills is by example. Show your daughter how to be entrepreneurial. Have them help you out with your business or bring her to work. Show her what it means to be successful. No matter what your daughter does, build up her self-esteem. Remind her that she's capable of anything and that you'll always be there right behind her. Tell her how proud you are, but don't focus on accomplishments alone. Instead, stress the importance of the underlying value of these accomplishments. Let her know that it's okay to make mistakes, to lose. It's all part of the learning process, and it will help her grow into a strong, independent woman who will lead the world. I hope you all enjoyed today's talk. I'd love to have your feedback on today's topic. Please feel free to share your thoughts through our Facebook and Twitter accounts. I'd love to know how you, as a parent, foster entrepreneurial spirits in your children. Thank you.